Hi, my name's Greg Mooers. I have a background in quantum physics and I was a monk for 8 years. I studied the lives of people that are heroes and discovered a three-part path to how we can know exactly who we are and where we stand, communicate powerfully and beautifully, and make a contribution and be the heroes we were born to be. My book is Learn Our Heart Virtue to Be Who We Are. Have you ever had that feeling there's gotta be more to life? Well, that feeling struck me really hard right after college. I thought I was prepared for life, but what I found was I had only been programmed to do things for others. I didn't know what I want, and I didn't know what I stood for. I still remember 2 o'clock in the morning one day, buckled over, sobbing, there's gotta be more to life than this. What that led me to was a whole path of being very successful in business, and then being so empty and so lonely, I literally checked out and became a monk for 8 years. One of the things we had to do as monks was we went to convalescent homes. It would break your heart. There were people there that literally they're just laying there rotting in bed. When I left that convalescent home one day, something inside me snapped. And I vowed that as long as I am on the planet, people would not have to die that way. They would live passionate lives. When I studied the lives of people in convalescent homes, I found that they all had 3 main regrets. The first is, I wish I'd have spent more time in contemplation, knowing who I am and where I stand. The second, I wish I'd have taken more risk in life. And the third, I wish I'd have left something of lasting value behind. If you experience that in your life, if you know there's got to be more to life than this, and you're worried about whether you're going to make your contribution, knowing your heart virtue will have a huge impact on your life and give you an awakening as to why you're on this earth. You know, we go through life with this sense of insecurity because we're living from the outside in. We're trying to get our outside world arranged so that we can finally feel secure in it. But when you know who you are and where you stand, and you start living from the inside out, and owning that who you are is creating the world around you, these quantum physics principles that I studied that Gandhi just applied like mathematics will create the world that you want to have. You just got to have the courage to bite into it and say, this is what I want for the world. Everything else will shift. You will love your life and live in alignment with the things that are most meaningful to you, and then you can bring that gift to the world. And by the way, the pain that has happened to you in your life, the pains that you've suffered, will actually turn into credentials. Think about it. A woman who's had cancer and healed from cancer has greater credentials than an oncologist that has studied it for 30 years. Every pain you have was a gift given to you so that you could make a contribution to humanity and make a difference in people's lives. And when you can own that your pain is your credential and bring your gift to the world, you'll experience an amazing peace inside yourself, and you'll start to see that everything that's happened to you fit in and was belonging in your life, instead of trying to make things wrong. There's only one thing that's wrong. Have you ever seen a 200-pound hummingbird? That's what's wrong. They don't exist. If it's here and it exists, it must be right. Let's find a way to fit it in. This is how we use our heart virtue in our lives, by being bold and going out and speaking what we want to experience. You know, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And Mother Teresa was once asked, how can we have world peace? Her answer was, go home and make peace with your family. I like to combine both of these. My statement is, be the change you want to see in this room. If you want world peace, find out how you can make a contribution right in the room to create a greater spirit of peace in the room. If you do that, you're going to love your life and your world, because your world is the world that you create. You know, it's funny, when I studied quantum physics, I became aware of this field that we live in. Just like gravity, we live in a field, I call it evolity, that makes us yearn to be better at being what we are. You know, think of it, the forces of evolution insist that every species gets better and better at being what it is. That's about authenticity, right? And you've probably experienced this. You may have had fantastic experiences in life, and then you're followed up by, why aren't I satisfied? Why do I want more? I'm living an upper level life in a beautiful country. I've worked with Olympic gold medalists, Academy and Emmy Award winners, and these people who have so much still yearn for more. No matter who we are, we will yearn for more, and what we're really yearning for is to be the best, most authentic self we can be. We don't want to be somebody else. Lizards do not yearn to become better dogs. They yearn to be the best lizards they can be, and you're yearning to be the best you can be. Learning your heart virtue and living from the inside out is the way to authentically experience yourself and the contribution you came here to make. So here are 3 simple strategies for making the most of your heart virtue. Number 1, the way we identify your heart virtue is by taking an inventory of the goosebumps moments in your life. You know how you're watching a movie and there's one scene that's like, yes, that's the way life should be? Well, the reason that scene is so beautiful for you is because it resonates with your heart virtue. What's being expressed there is your passion and your calling in life. The second strategy is to take one small act of courage every day. Think of where you'd be if you just stretched a little bit every day, one phone call, one meeting, one document, in alignment with the world that you want to create. A courageous call to someone that you don't even think will give you the time of day. If you did that every day, where would you be in a year? The third strategy is we live in a survival mode most of the time. Our brain is telling us, don't, hold back. But let me tell you something about your brain. It's incredibly creative, and once you live from your heart and say, we're going to do this thing, your brain goes into a creative mode and it will handle whatever you give it. You can bite off more than would be humanly possible, and your brain will figure out a way to accomplish those goals. So the three strategies are, take an inventory of your goosebumps, find out what your passion is, take one small act of courage every day, and live from your heart, not your brain. Use this as your compass, because your brain will accomplish whatever you set your heart to. There is one great obstacle to living in alignment with your heart virtue and living from the inside out. And it is basically the fear of being a fool. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, Mother Teresa. Whatever they accomplished and whatever they did, they started out looking like a fool. Like Gandhi, you think you're going to liberate your country? You don't even have an army. So what stops us is the unwillingness to be perceived as a fool. And the truth is, if you're really in alignment with what's meaningful to you and speaking it authentically, you won't look like a fool. Gandhi never did. It's just the fear of looking like a fool. And let me tell you something about that fear. It's not fear. It's excitement. What's the difference between fear and excitement? You know, two people jump off a bridge with a bungee cord tied around their ankles. One of them screams, ah! The other one goes, wee! So when I'm asking you to go out and take one small act of courage every day, what I'm really asking you to do is be willing to be perceived as that fool, because it's the only thing stopping you. If you do that, you're going to learn something in every conversation. There are winners and there are learners, so you can't lose. Go for it. Mother Teresa's heart virtue was compassion. Abraham Lincoln's heart virtue was unity. What's yours? When I discovered mine, my heart virtue is spiritual integrity. So I said, I want 6 billion people to know what their heart virtue is. As soon as I did that, within 3 months, my book has been translated into French and Spanish. I now have 10 coaches that are out there identifying people's heart virtues while I sleep. And so when I decided to bite off something because I want to live in a world, I want to be able to walk through the mall and have people have clarity and confidence and look me in the eye and give me that little wink instead of feeling like they're ashamed or they know they're trying to fill this hole with some package. I would love to see them experience their confidence and know that who they are makes a difference. Once you set your mind to a particular goal and get an image in mind, invisible forces will get behind you and push and open doors in front of you. This is the observer effect and the quantum physics principles that we studied. And I've seen it. 5,000 years ago, warrior kings, saints, and sages used the same technology to create amazing things in their lives. It's what Gandhi did. It's what Mother Teresa did. And you can do it once you know your heart virtue. How can we pay forward the lessons that we've learned? Every pain you've been through is actually a credential given to you by the benevolent forces of the universe to make a contribution to humanity. If you just own it and learn to make that contribution by knowing your heart virtue, you will have an impact every time you enter the room. So I'm Greg Mooers. This has been about heart virtues. Live a courageous life. Be the fool. Be willing to take a stand for what's most meaningful to you. And above all, know your heart virtue. When you look in that mirror, you're going to see what I see. Life is so much more beautiful than you imagined. I believe in you more than your ability to doubt yourself. So go to project-peaceonearth.org and look for Life Camp or Heart Virtues. Have a great day. Be courageous.